Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, guys? I got John from the San Francisco area band M.U.T.T on the show today. How you doing, John?
Doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hell yeah.
So, Bad to the Bone recently released your first full-length album for the band M.U.T.T. Go back a little ways, but you were in a former band called Culture Abuse that disbanded, and you kind of we're looking for something to do and came up with this. I mean, is there a deeper story that you'd like to tell people about how M.U.T.T started?
It's kind of funny because, when Culture Abuse did break up, I was kind of stressing about music. I wasn't sure, if people would care necessarily. I mean, it was also a chance to kind of do my own thing, but I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And so I started writing some music with my friend Tommy from that band Gouge Away, also now plays in Angel Dust and stuff. And we were kind of writing some songs back and forth on the internet, but I was like, dude, I was taking it way too seriously. And I was stressing out about everything. And I was like, man, this is really not what it should be. As far as trying to write some songs, it should come naturally. It should be something that you are having fun doing. And at the time I wasn't. I was like, man, these songs have to be really, really good. And I was putting too much pressure on myself. So the funny thing is that was initially supposed to be my first kind of really, really go at it. And then I don't know, I just I was really high one day, smoking some weed, watching that 70s show. And there was this hilarious joke that happened, and it made me laugh. And I was like, man, I shouldn't take myself so seriously. I shouldn't take this whole thing so seriously. So then I kind of approached it differently as far as writing the songs go, and getting this project together was I just really want to have some fucking fun right now and just write songs that are going to make me happy and that I'm going to enjoy, playing and shit. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird, it kind of started a little rocky, and then once I decided to not give so much of a fuck, it came very easily. So,
well, it's hard to do, right? As an artist, one of the things is, you take things seriously because it's important to you, right? So it's hard to let go of things. So that the fact that you found that point to do that is fucking cool.
Yeah, all it took was a couple joints and some funny TV.
Well, when it comes to the music, man, what I like about it is it's a throwback for me. It's got that late 60s, 70s raw punk attitude to it, where it sounds like it can be transformative. It came out in 2022, but it could have came out in 1978.
Man, that's sick. Thank you for saying that. That's kind of the approach I really wanted to go with it is keep it simple, stupid, and I don't know, to me, man, all the songs have been written, so just kind of don't try and I don't know, surprise people, that's not what I don't know. Yeah. I really wanted to just keep it simple, straightforward, rock and roll, punk attitude type shit. And yeah, so that's how we came up with this style.
Well, I mean, it definitely comes off that way. And again, like I said, it's cool to me that there can be, a younger generation creating music that can also sound like it's from a different era. You know, there's people that, you know, you go into certain punk stuff like pop punk, like a lot of the bands nowadays can just fit to a formula, but like you took something, you made it raw, you kept it raw, but it can fit in with, you know, all those amazing The Stooges, Dead Boys, The Damned, like things like that back in the day, like that just still works. And that's pretty cool to see, you know, a younger generation be able to capture that in new music.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I listened like the first like punk bands I got into were like the Descendants and like Blink-182, like before they kind of broke. So it was like, and I was obsessed with those bands and everything like that. So it's like that's the type of shit I first started writing in like high school and with my friends and stuff. And then, you know, over the years, it's just I've gotten into so many different styles of music, and for the last, you know, probably 10 years or so, I've been like obsessed with just classic rock and like, I don't know, just kind of chill attitude, outlaw country shit. So I feel like that's kind of where the mix comes from. You know, it's like, it's kind of cool, like Descendants, Ramonesy, like simple punk songs, but like with the, you know, the sonic sound of like early kind of rock shit. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, kid growing up listening to Descendants and Blink-182, I mean, it's going to formulate some punk vibes in your life. I mean, prior to finding like Descendants and Blink-182, did you grow up in a household that like music was prevalent all the time, or was it, you know, not there?
Good question. I don't remember a lot of music being played in my house. I grew up with two older sisters and a single mom, and mom was too busy to sit down and listen to music. And but my older sister Crystal, I don't know how she got her hands on these, but like she just started, like, you know, she's 4 years older than me, and so she was listening to music, and she had some tapes, and I thought she was cool, so I would steal her tapes and listen to them. So like the first stuff I remember listening to was Alanis Morissette and Green Day Dookie were like two cassettes that I would steal from my sister and play all the time.
Came out at the same time.
And that's pretty good shit, dude. That first Alanis record is dope. Dookie obviously did pretty well, I think, for him.
Yeah,
and,
I think it did, you know, okay.
Yeah, so my mom, eventually I found out she was kind of a rocker, but she was super into Floyd and stuff like that when she was growing up. So I remember like when you know, the first music I ever listened to with my mom was probably driving around in her car. She'd probably have some Pink Floyd on or something like that. So
you're driving around with your mom listening to Floyd and stealing your sister's tapes. I mean, how did you start to find your own way into music? Did you have other friends showing you stuff, or did you like have a cool record store that you went to and people started handing you stuff, or how'd that go?
I started probably getting into music just from watching TV a lot, MTV and stuff like that. And one year for Christmas, I got my own TV, and so then I could like watch whatever I wanted in my room, and I would just have it on MTV probably all the time. And I would even like, I had like a VCR. I would record MTV at night when I was sleeping. And I'd fucking watch that shit later. Because that's when
the cool stuff was on, because it was on at like 1:30 in the morning when like awesome bands were on.
Yeah, that's when they had like the cool punk stuff. I remember maybe they revamped Headbangers Ball or something with like Good Charlotte or something. I don't know. But I remember like at night was when they would play like the cool metal, like the new metal and like the punk stuff. So yeah, I would go back and watch that. That's how I discovered like Papa Roach and POD. I was super into them for a while. And that's when I started asking for music, like from my mom, like to buy me stuff, and she wouldn't. So what I would do is, you know, I had school lunch. And so my mom would give me $1.40 like every day for school lunch, and I wouldn't pay for the lunch. I would steal the lunch, and then I'd save up that money and buy my CDs.
A thinking man. A thinking man at work. I mean, listen, you're not the only person that's ever done that. I did that a couple times too, where here's your $5 for the week for lunch, make it last, and then I would
Yeah.
just like eat friends' leftovers, and then save my money and buy what I wanted.
Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then eventually, you know, I would just move on to stealing the CDs. That was easier, you know. But yeah, I mean, shit. Uh, yeah, I mean, growing up with TV was cool as hell. Discovered a lot of cool bands that way.
Now, when did you start to get into music? When did you start to play music and tinker around? Like, were you forced to take lessons, or was it like a school band thing?
Nah, growing up, you know, like as well, how would you say, financially tight as possible. I mean, I like pretended forever, dude. I would like I would. My mom used to get so mad. I would steal her bathrobe, like to her, yeah, her the like the tie to her bathrobe, and like tie it to like a wiffle ball bat, and like use it as a guitar. You know, uh, yeah, you know, like when you're just a fucking kid playing in your room, like I would just do that. Like, you know, I would just pretend I was like playing to like a million people, you know, and watching, copying stuff on TV, like in music videos and stuff. But it wasn't until high school. Um, you know, I met a couple friends. I moved. I grew up in Massachusetts, and then in my 8th grade year, the like last month of the school year, my mom bought a house in New Hampshire, so we moved there, and we had to change school districts and stuff. So basically, I had like a month to find like friends for the summer and stuff. It was pretty crazy, but I met some kids, like some punk kids, and we like pretended to start bands, you know, and we'd have one friend that had like a drum kit and like one friend that had a guitar, and we'd all get together and no one had an amp, you know, so we'd just stare at each other and pretend, you know. uh, and then, you know, my mom started dating this guy, and he had 2 kids, and their mom was pretty well off, so they pretty much got whatever they wanted. And so he got a guitar, and he would bring it over, and he took lessons and stuff. So he would teach me some stuff. He basically taught me how to read tablature. And then from then on, dude, like once we had a computer and shit, you know, you could like just look up tabs online. I just looked up every song I ever wanted to know, and just learned how to play it through tablature. Uh yeah, so I had a friend who moved like before me to New Hampshire, and he went to a different school than I did. But basically, I was obsessed with Blink, and he went to this different school, and there was a kid there who was obsessed with Blink, and he was like, "This kid's a bigger Blink fan than you," and I was like, "No fucking way, dude." And so back in the screen name days, like he like hooked us up, and we had like a trivia Blink thing, you know, like we'd sit there and ask each other questions about Blink and shit. And I'd never met this kid before, but it was pretty wild. And then yeah, eventually like I was hanging out with my friend who introduced us, and we became friends. He had like a bunch of gear at his house. I had a bass guitar, and that was it. And so we started my first band. I was in I was like a sophomore in high school. So this was like 2002, 2000.
What
Yeah,
was the name of that
2002.
band?
Dude, we had a million names, but because like back then the only way to put your music online was mp3.com. Do you remember that website?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's how I discovered a lot of bands too. At my high school, there was you could use the internet in the library, and so I'd show up early for school, and I'd just go in there, and we had like these study periods, and they'd be in the library, and you're supposed to like sit there and like do homework, but I would just like chill online and go on mp3.com, and because the internet speed at my school was way faster than mine at home, so that's how I'd like listen to music. I'd like bring headphones and plug them in, and just like try and discover all these bands. But so we were trying to make like a an mp3.com page, but like every band name was taken. Like there's like a million bands. I remember one of our first name was Second to Last, but there was like 50 of those, so then we had to change it. We eventually settled on Forever and a Day,
Okay.
and you know, back then, the only way to kind of get your band out there was you had to have like a website. So I started teaching myself how to make websites and shit like that. And I photoshopped this like picture of Tom DeLonge jumping in the air, like with his guitar. And that was like our logo was, was just like a silhouette, like cut out of Tom DeLonge. So it was a pretty sweet band, I gotta say.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back a little bit, man, from learning tab to you just went all in. Like there was nothing holding you back, right? Like, I mean, just to hear you tell the story, it was just like, oh, so this is a thing. Nothing's gonna stop me.
For sure, dude. I mean, in more ways than just music too. Like, man, when I was I've like drawn like my whole life. I don't like take it too seriously. But when I was a kid, man, I would just draw like all the fucking time. And like one of the things I used to do is like I used to like make my own CD like art. Like I would cut out paper and I would take the booklet and I would take like the CDs apart and I'd make my own CD for like a fake band I was in. Like that's what I would do like on the weekends for fun as a kid is I'd like make up a band, you know. I'd be like, I'm in a band with fucking Jonathan Davis from Korn and it's called this. And, you know, I'd like draw the artwork and put the CD together. So like, I mean, like being in a band and playing music for me, like came at a very young age. And I mean, I didn't have all the resources to do it right away. So it really like, it took so long to even get a guitar in my hands. You know, I didn't know anybody with a guitar. None of my friends played like, so, you know, it wasn't until like, you know, my mom started dating this dude and his son had a guitar. That was like the first time I ever like touched one. And I was like, oh, I remember actually, he let me borrow it and I was jamming on it and I fucking broke a string and I was stressing out. I didn't know that strings break. So I tried to glue it back together and it wouldn't stay. I was freaking out. I like told my mom, I'm like, Ma, I broke a string. I'm so sorry. Like, she's like, oh, strings break all the time. I was like, oh, for real? Okay, cool. Yeah, this isn't glue. I don't know what this is.
But you know, finding that little thing for yourself that keeps you going too is, and as a kid and being resourceful. I mean, just hearing your story, you were resourceful in everything that you were doing, right? So finding something to attach yourself to, whether just drawing or music, just catapulted you into a new thing. And, you know, to see where you are now, I mean, where in your life do you think the big jump came, like from being that resourceful kid to now being able to get your music out there, to be on a show, you know, to talk about your life? I mean, was there like a jumping off point for you?
Well, I guess, I mean, yeah, culture abuse was kind of a big deal. But that only came because I moved to California. Like I said, I grew up in Massachusetts and I played in bands there for years. And, you know, California is just like one of those places, you know, out there that you'd see like on TV. You're like, oh shit, like that looks cool. You know, all the bands I listened to were like from California. And, I wasn't able to ever visit here until I was in a band and until we like did tours. And so like the first time I ever traveled, the only time I've ever traveled, you know, until I was like an adult was through music and you know, touring with your friends and stuff. And yeah, like came to California, fell in love, talked about it for years, how I'm going to move here. You know, it's like every time like a lease would come up, I'd be like, well, maybe I'll move to California. And like, you know, it became like kind of a joke with all my friends. Would be like, hey, going to California, right? You dumbass. I'd be like, yeah. They're like, good luck with that, idiot. But it was like a spur of the moment thing too, to move out here. It wasn't planned at all. It just like a situation fell in my lap and I just knew it was the time to do it. There was no other, it wouldn't have been as easy, you know, to do it on my own. And I had like a pretty good support system and it was like just an opportunity. So I took it, moved out here, met some people, met the people that, we started Culture Abuse with, and just started working from there. So I guess that's like the big thing would be, actually changing my whole life and moving across the country and just trying to find some footing, in a place where I thought making art and making music was like accepted normally. In Massachusetts, everyone's just like, they're working people. So
Yeah.
it was really far, like living out there, and never, all this stuff never seemed possible. It's like so far fetched, like there's nobody, the only famous people from Boston, they're fucking New Kids on the Block and the Wahlburgers. But, so, I mean, people care about sports out there. There's definitely not a way I was going to be good at that. So yeah, I knew California was going to be a place that I would actually be able to put the work in to achieve some goals of mine, being a little creative kid in school, getting made fun of and shit for being weird. So I knew people out here weren't weird.
Yeah.
Well, they are certainly weirdos, but being a creative and like an artist is not weird, which is good.
No, weird kids rule the world. So, I mean,
that is true, man.
There's more of us than there are of the others. So
yeah, there's good weird for sure. I love good weird.
Now, playing music and getting into music, growing up and having to be resourceful, what was the first concert you ever got to go to see live music performed?
Well, there could be two answers. There's, when I was growing up, radio stations were huge and had money to do big things. So every year, like on the 4th of July, this like rock radio station in New England called WAAF would have like this big party, and they'd have like they'd have a stage and bands would play. And I remember one year, it was probably 97, 98 or something, Godsmack played. So I saw Godsmack and I got like a copy of their CD like before they signed to like a major. So it was like a weird, like shitty demo. It looked like a bootleg, like CD from some street vendor, but it was what they had. So, and I remember jamming out to that, but like, that was something I went with like the family and shit. It was like, it wasn't like a concert in my opinion, but I remember that was like the first live music I saw for sure. And then, when I moved to New Hampshire, I met some people, some punk kids, and it was weird because it's two states that are like right next to each other. You wouldn't think they'd be so different, but they were. Like in Mass, man, like kids growing up, like we're kind of sheltered in a way from like I don't know, like actually like going out and doing stuff. In New Hampshire, it's like people were like really willing to like spend money to go do something or whatever, like drive like an hour to a show or something. Like in Mass, it's like, bro, if it's not in my town, I'm not going to go check it out. But like, I don't know, people in New Hampshire were way more adventurous. And for me at that time, like I didn't like leave my street when I was like a little kid. But then in New Hampshire, it's like I had these friends that were like, oh, like Warped Tour's coming, like let's get tickets. And I'm like, what? You can do that? How do you get tickets? They're like, you just buy them online or go to the record store. I'm like, what? That's how you do that? Okay. Like I never knew how to go to a show. And yeah, Blink was doing their Take Off Your Pants and Jacket tour with Newfound Glory. And so my friends that I made when I moved, like they were like, we're going, like tickets are $30. I was like, what? That's how much it costs to go to a show? Like that's fucking cheap. For that show, for me, like never been to a show before. I always thought concerts were probably like hundreds of dollars because I didn't have money. I didn't know what things cost. But yeah, so like my first big show was the Blink Take Off Your Pants Jacket 2001 tour, and then went to Warped Tour that same summer. So that would be like my second like major show.
Yeah, I mean, $30 for Blink is a huge difference than how much it is right now. So
that is true, dude. I still got my tickets, so I'm glad I'm adult now, dude. I can actually afford to buy shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, see, the thing that I always say, I'm like, it's weird because I'm still a child, but I just have adult money now. So
yeah,
I rarely think about certain things. I'm like, oh, I'm going to the show. I still have a problem though of anything like that exceeds like $70 for a show. I don't know why, and trust me, I'm much older than you, but I still have that issue. Like I'm still that.
How old do you think I am?
I would say you're probably 29, 30.
35.
Okay. Well,
How old are you?
45.
Oh, cool.
So there it is. But yeah, I mean, I still have my $12 ticket stub for seeing the Smashing Pumpkins at Roseland in 1992. So
sick, yeah.
And it's still my mentality of like, listen, you don't have to spend a shitload of money to go see great music. And a lot of the times I look at things like there's a lot of bands that I got to see like for that $12 or anything under $20, like some of the most amazing lineups I saw at firehouses, and that bands are huge today. And I'm just like, I don't need to fucking go spend $250 to go see them at a large venue. Like, I don't need that. I already got the best of it for my money. And it's like, it's so hard, like with all these bands coming back and how much money they're charging. My wife wanted to go see Paramore. She's like, oh my God, we got to go see him. I'm like, yeah, last time we saw him, it was like $22 at a local venue here. And it was 400 fucking bucks at the Beacon Theater in New York City.
Ooh.
I'm like, fuck that. Like, you don't fucking deserve that. Like,
shit. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, if it's something that's the best part about having adult money now, is if it's something from like your childhood, I don't know if it means that much to you. Like when Blink got back together, the first time Tom quit, and they put out Neighborhoods. Like I went to a couple of the shows when they got back together, but we just got like, whatever seats with some friends. But when they did the Neighborhoods tour, this was 2011, 2012 or so, like all I was doing out here, I wasn't in a band or anything yet. So all I was doing was working and just, living with my friends and paying rent and stuff. So it's like, I had some, income I could just throw away. And, I was just curious. I was like, how much is it for like a front row ticket to this fucking Blink show? And it was only $250. And I was like, I'm fucking down. And so,
yeah, and that's not horrible. Like my wife had to talk me into Foo Fighters tickets. She's like,
the Foo Fighters is, dude. That's like, I had a friend who saw Foo Fighters, and they're like, man, it's like one of the best shows. Like, they make it a point to build their fucking stage in the middle of the crowd, so it's like everyone gets like
everyone gets a good seat. Yeah,
yeah. And but that's sick, But I understand.
Yeah, she's like, it's $200. She's like, it's not like we don't have the money to go see them. I'm like, I just have a problem. I don't think I've ever paid, for a ticket that much money for one show. And she's like, you've never seen them. They're the last great American true rock band, and you talk about them all the time, and you're gonna scoff it. She's like, fuck you, we're going. And like that was
they played for like 3 hours too, I hear, from what I hear. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like, it was almost 3
Did you
hours.
go?
Like, yeah, I went, and again, I look back and thank God I did.
Right, dude? Thank fucking God you did.
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen that shit.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I have that mental break, and again, it's like I have the adult money to do it, and it's it's not, knock on wood, not going to set me back anything, and it's just I have this 90s mentality of shows, and like I go to fucking 10, 12 shows a month, but it's like, all right, anything under $30, and like I'm still getting to see bands that I fucking love for that price too, and I'm like, this is
shows
great.
Are getting more and more expensive though. It's pretty wild. Like, even my friends' bands, like I really, really, really hate being that guy to ask, to get in to a show for free. So I always buy tickets, and
same here.
Sometimes it's like, I know I'm going to go and I'm going to watch them, but I mostly am going to hang out with them and catch up and shit. And it's like, do I really need to spend $100 to come say hi?
Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. Just let's get breakfast and you can pay me $100.
Yeah. And that's, some things too, when people will be like, "Hey, yeah, no, you're on the list at the door." If I am, I walk in and I hand them, here you go. Here's the $20 or $30, that however much it was. I appreciate it. Just put it directly into your pocket so you're not going to the venue. But like, yeah, $100 is a fucking lot to go see a friend's band. Like, I don't know if I'd do that unless it was like this major charity event, you know?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
And even then I'd be like, how much do I appreciate that charity?
Shit.
So with the new album just coming out, and you know, talking about music and the way we are, if someone never heard of Mutt and you had to play them one song that you would think would best describe what you're coming off as, I call this pick your favorite child, but you know, what song would you play for somebody right now?
Does it have to be off the record?
Or one of yours?
So the weird thing is we recorded this record, and there was no intent on like pressing it, or I was gonna just like record it and self-release it, and I actually paid for like a DistroKid fucking account, like a $80 a year account, and because I was just gonna upload it on all the sites and shit, and just kind of like spread the word out that way. And then a friend of mine got a hold of it. His name's Joey Camillo. He plays in a band called Fearing, and they kick ass. They have some new music out, but he listened to it. He's like, "Yo, this is dope." I have a friend who has like a label. They're always like trying to grow and put out some records. Like, is it cool if I send it to him? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, and it was like, I sent it to Joey that morning, and by the end of the day, this label was like, yeah, we want to put your record out, so let's fucking make a deal. And it was like, cool. Didn't expect that, and that's badass. So like, let's fucking go. And so building up to the release of the LP, we wanted to at least put some music out to like start telling people about the band, you know, and who we were and what other bands we were in, and you know, that this new thing exists. And so we recorded that song Night Moves, and that is just like a single, just like for the internet, just to kind of introduce the band. And that song was written after the record, so it's like, it's funny because, you know, the record was written and recorded, and like 6 months later we recorded this song, and in my opinion, like, it's like a progression already. It's just one song, but it's like, this is kind of where it's going more. Like, it's, you know, the songs are about the same length, but it's just like a little more oomph in it, you know, a little more fucking attitude, just a little more like kind of thought, like more well thought out and stuff. And I don't know, I fucking love that song. I love playing that song. I think that song is dope. And I mean, if I was going to show someone my band, I would show them that song. But off the record, that first song, I Don't Wanna, like, I think it's a pretty good introduction. That's why it's like the first song. It's just kind of like hits you with the guitar tone immediately. You got that.
I think the record opens and it tells you who you are immediately. Like,
yeah,
it leaps off and says, hold on. Like, you're at the top of a roller coaster, and right before it crests, it kicks in, and it's like, here you go, hold on the whole way down.
Yeah, and then once those drums kick in, it's like straight fucking pound and beat. So that's why I love that song. So I mean, off the record, yeah, that's the reason why that song's first, is to kind of, you know, introduce you again to like what this fucking band's about. So yeah, those two songs kick ass in my opinion.
So when you're doing this, I mean, what's your goal now for the band? Now that your music's out, it's released, you're getting some pressings, you're doing shows like this, and what do you think you're going to do moving forward with Mutt? How do you foresee this moving forward?
You know, all I've ever wanted to do with music is travel and just, you know, it's cool to make a living off of stuff that you're making, but it's also like, it's really fucking hard to like make that work with, you know, how many people are involved in it, you know, like, it's crazy, like, dude, because like there's like rappers out there, they can go on a fucking tour, and it's like, you know, if they're doing like a DIY tour, like, you know, if they're like kind of a young rap, you know, like these SoundCloud rappers and stuff that are going out, it's like well, they got like, they got them, they got a merch guy, maybe they got like a stage manager or something. Like, they're paying 3 people, but when you're in
Yeah.
a band, you're splitting your bottom line between 4 or 5 people, because you got to pay your label, you got to pay your agents and shit like that, or like your managers and stuff. So, I mean, going forward, like, Culture Abuse kind of reached like a pretty we are doing pretty good, and that was definitely a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of stress, and it's like a lot of uncertainty. I could never, the girl I was dating at the time, throughout that band, it'd be like, she want to like go somewhere, like take a vacation, and I'm like, well, all right, like we can plan it, but if something comes up, I might not be able to do it. It depends on the situation and stuff like that. Because like when I'm doing something, I'm just super loyal. I'm super like all about it, and it's like I don't want to let anybody else down either. So I mean, like in Culture Abuse, it's like we all kind of flew by the seat of our pants, just to take any opportunity we could. And with this band, I'd like to do the same thing, but I'm definitely more smart about it. I don't want to like do a tour that I know is just gonna like kill me financially or like screw up my life. Because the last few years of Culture Abuse, me and the bass player, we were pretty much just homeless, just kind of crashing around, just because we were on tour so often. It's like it's really fucked up to pay rent at a place I'm not at ever.
Yeah.
So, but I like having a house. I like being in a home. So I to answer your question, I want to tour. I want to travel. I just want to like play fun shows. Like I just want to like see my friends. I just want to like play with some bands. I like that are like so many bands have come up like since my my last show with Culture Abuse, that it's like damn, like all my homies that we were playing shows with are now like doing bigger things, and it's like that's really cool to see. But it's like let me show up and open too. So I mean, yeah, just playing shows, writing songs, having fun, killing it, have a beer.
And I mean, you have had that opportunity to travel and play music all over the place with Culture Abuse. And I mean, in your career and time touring and doing things, is there a moment that like stands out to you for better or worse that you'll just never forget, touring or playing somewhere or with someone?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few like different, peaks and valleys, or however you'd say it. Like we man, like when I was a kid, I just so badly wanted to be in a band that people like fucking went crazy to, and like when you're like a little kid and you're playing shows, like your friends would go have fun, but it's like it's not like strangers doing it, and growing up I was in like screamo bands and stuff, and it's like that type of stuff didn't really happen, especially like in the scene I was growing up in. It was kind of more like people were more like they'd stand there with their arms folded and watch you and nod their head and tell you did good after. So one of the big things for me, man, was just being in a band that people would sing along to and just like fucking have a good time. And luckily I got that with Culture Abuse. Like when we dropped Peach, I didn't know what to expect really from the record. Like we were playing we hadn't even done a tour. Like before we dropped Peach, we were literally just playing LA and San Francisco. But we were like kind of gaining some momentum, and we didn't have social media. I kind of like refused to let the band have that for like the first few years, because I just wanted to be real mysterious about it. And it worked, honestly. Like we'd play these shows and people would announce us, and then it would be like a crazy ass time, and that was always cool. But people weren't like singing along, because the early stuff in Culture Abuse is kind of more hardcore and like screaming vocals and stuff. But then once David kind of settled down and started singing more, and on the Peach record, like the first tour out was with nothing, and so we're from California. The tour started in Boston, and like we played Chicago, and we played Subterranean. Have you ever been there?
Yep.
Do you know that venue? Yeah.
Yep.
So we didn't expect anything, but we showed up, we played, and people went fucking crazy. We put out this video for Dream On, and we brought a homie on tour with us, and he had a camera, and he was just like filming us, just on the road eating fast food and just being like little shitty kids, and like he filmed that show, and like when we watched it back, dude, it was fucking crazy. People were like jumping on each other, everyone was singing along and having a great time, and that, like, man, being a part of that, it gives you such a crazy ass feeling. It's like it's kind of like one of the best things ever. And so and then like traveling around the world, like not around the world, we did some Europe tours. We went to the UK a couple times, and the furthest we ever went was we played a show in South Africa for Vans. And playing at a place like that, or like in London, and like people just going fucking nuts for your band and singing along, is like, in other countries, is like, holy shit. Like, what is this? That's why I would hope people do it. They want to see people feel something from your band, and have fun and sing along. Cause that's what I was doing when I was, a kid. If I fucking love a band, dude, I will go to that show and sing my little heart out. No doubt about it. So
yeah, to see your music and to reach all those lengths, like that's what I talk about all the time. Is music is a universal language. Like, it doesn't matter what country you're from. If you like that music, you're all the time. I go back to these videos of seeing an emo band from Jersey that I grew up loving, Penfold, playing in Japan, and all these Japanese kids screaming the lyrics at the top of their lungs in English, and that's the only English they know. And this is this little band from fucking New Jersey that nobody knows about, but they found out about them over there, and people are going apeshit for them. I'm like, that right there is why music is so fucking important. And the fact that like they're pulling away music programs and less people are doing, the artistry that is music, it just like breaks my heart, because it's the one thing we can all connect on. It's so fucking nuts that to see that, and for you to be able to travel the world doing what you love and seeing people in other countries know your music. I mean, that can sustain someone's life forever, just having that moment and that recollection on your bad days to think about that and be like, fucking hey, look at what I did.
Yeah, for sure. And I think about this too, dude, like with the way the world's going, like I swear 10-15 years from now, there's going to be just like AI music, dude, where some motherfucker's just going to think of something and it's going to be written for him, and me and you will be sitting there like, back in my day, we played the guitar. And people will be like, what the fuck is that, old man?
Yeah. Listen, I do that now.
Out of my brain, dude. All I do is think it, and it fucking shows up, and it's a hit.
Yeah, you think of that little melody in your head, and you're like, boom, there it is. Turns out I'm the new Beatles.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Drake Jr. is gonna be just writing music with his mind soon, dude.
It is crazy to see, in just my lifetime, how far with technology and what music has become, and I still fight the digital game, but it's something I use, but I'm still surrounded by.
Yeah, you can't help it. So
yeah, all these things I can touch. Like I had to borrow my wife's car, a couple weeks ago to go into New York City because my truck is too big for it, and I forgot that she had a CD.
Good call. Call. It's stressful driving around in a big fucking vehicle in New York.
Yeah.
The amount of fucking side view mirrors I've busted out is ridiculous.
So I was like, I forgot she had a CD player, and I grabbed a stack of CDs, and I was like, I'm just listening to CDs the whole time. I'm not Bluetoothing it. I'm fucking CDs. And I just grabbed a stack of CDs, and that was all I was going to listen to. And that's exactly what I did.
I feel so stupid sometimes, because I like just I'm so into making playlists. I have been, just from like touring, because like, you don't want to fucking change the fucking record like every 30 minutes to an hour, like when you're driving. Like, So I would just make these monster playlists of all my favorite songs from all my favorite records. Like I'd put them in like categories of like mood, or like, genre, things like that. I don't know, I would mix genres, but it'd be like it wouldn't be like a slow sad R&B song and then like a cool punk song. It'd be like all upbeat or whatever. And So I've just been killing it with playlists forever. And like sometimes I just fucking forget about records and like just listening to an album back and forth. Like if I'm like at home, like doing some design work or working on something, like I gotta be listening to music to kind of keep my focus, you know? It's like just happening, you know, but it kind of has to be when I'm like doing something. It's and like I don't know, sometimes the playlist will just get old and I'm like, man, like what the fuck do I listen to? And I'll just sit there and I'll be scrolling through bands and I'm like, nothing stands out. And then I'll just remember a record that I love and put that shit on. And I'm like, damn, every song is sick. But not every song can go on a cool playlist. So shit.
Yeah, well, and that's also what I love about still having some of these physical things is like forgetting about an album and essentially rediscovering it. And because that time when you find music or you find an album that you absolutely love, and maybe you played it out fucking 10 years ago and you haven't touched it since. And then you look at it and you pull it out and you put it back on, and it's like rediscovering it and getting that little feeling again. But now you know all the lyrics, and now you know you can just sit here and be like, holy shit, I totally forgot about that. Like right now I'm looking at all the CDs that sit in front of me here in the studio, and I'm like, oh, that fucking band Bender. I'm like, fuck, I forget that album, but I know I loved it. And now when the show's over, I'm going to go listen to that album.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Now, listening to music and making playlists, what's the last song you cried to?
Yo, good call. Shit. So, you know what's weird is I've always kind of like gotten like I don't know. It's I don't go to the doctor, so this isn't confirmed, but it's pretty much like seasonal depression, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like at this time of year, especially growing up where I grew up, this is snow season. You know, everything's all the plant life is dying, and it's just
Yeah, I'm a Northeasterner, man. I get it.
Yeah, you're gonna be inside for the next 5 months, but so like around this time of year, man, I just kind of like I do get like a little sad. So like I got my shit like it going back to what we were just talking about too. Like I will play if I love a record, I will play the shit out of it until I hate it, and then I'll leave it alone for a while, and then I'll come back to it, and it will bring back every reason why I love it. And the reason I love doing that is because I can connect when I listen to an album. I can literally go right back to a certain time in my life where
you can smell the smells that you smell when you hear.
Yeah. And so that's happening to me right now. And it's all happening because I haven't been back home to the Northeast since COVID. Like the last time I was there was December 2019. And I'm going back next week. I'm flying out next Tuesday. And so I'm crushing it with the sad album. So last song I cried to. All right. There's this band, and I used to manage this bagel place in Boston, and this like odd guy would come in. Like the last hour we would close. He wouldn't talk to anybody. He would get coffee and he'd sit there and just look out the window. And he was like in his late 40s or something. Didn't he just looked like such a weird loner guy. And I don't know what I just started talking to him one day, and then it ended up being a thing where every day he'd come in and talk to me at the same time every day. And I found out eventually that he's like this tormented painter, and he has these ridiculous paintings that are so mind-blowingly good. And his name is David Dechter, Decter. I have not been able to find him since this time, but I'll never forget his name. I'll never forget his art. It's so dope. But he introduced me to this band called We Were Promised Jetpacks.
Yep. I've seen them a bunch of times. Yeah.
Yeah. They're from Ireland, right?
Scotland.
That first record they have, what is it called? These Four Walls, maybe?
Yes.
Woo, dude, at that time in my life, I needed that record so bad. And it got me through that winter. Even though it's sad, it's like not it's like happy, sad sometimes. It's just like, man, the buildups and everything about the record is so good. And
It's a perfect album.
yeah, I rediscovered it recently, and they have this one song. I'm sorry, I have to look it up. Because I'll just like rock a fucking album. I usually don't know the names of every song.
Yeah, I'm a track guy. I'll be like, track 4, and like, what's the name of the song? I listen to so much goddamn music. I can only remember so much.
So the first song is Thunder and His Lightning, hits me like a million bricks, but Quiet Little Voices, which was like the single from the album, is like an up-tempo song, but it's right after all this sad shit, so it like brings you to this like for me it brings me to this crazy emotional place. And I like was driving, I had to pull over and just cried out for a second, dude. And it's all like, I know that the reason why it hit me so hard was because it was right around the time I like bought my flight home. It's like such a crazy feeling to be going back home after all this time and like seeing my mom and seeing my friends and shit. And it's like, so, and every time I do go back there, I do the same shit where it's like, I'll take a day, I'll go to the city, I'll just take the trains, and like, I'll just reroute like what I used to do, you know, like when all my like little fucking like commuting past to work and shit, I'd walk my old neighborhood streets and I just listen to the albums that I was obsessed with at that time. And it's just, yeah, it's such a, yeah, I fucking love that feeling. So that band, that song, that album definitely made me cry.
Yeah, and if you ever have you ever seen them play?
I
Live?
saw them. Yeah, I saw them play that same year. They came. They. I don't know how big they are now, but at the time I saw them at the Middle East downstairs in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's like a 500 cap room, and yeah, I saw them. It was incredible.
They haven't gotten that much bigger from that point, which is, again, it's odd. They're playing here in Jersey in a couple of weeks at White Eagle Hall, which is about like 700 people. But I mean, even the last time I saw them there, which was November 2019, right before COVID, like it didn't sell out either. But it's like, it's crazy because they opened the first time I saw them, and I already knew of them, and I was telling people about them. They opened for Jimmy Eat World on the Clarity tour, and it was the 10th anniversary of Clarity or whatever. And I was telling my friends, I'm like, dude, we got to get there because this fucking opening band is fucking sick. And I saw them perform, and I was like, Jimmy Eat World better fucking bring it, because they just fucking killed. And I was surprised that opening for a band like that, like they didn't get bigger than they are, but they still just keep putting out fucking monster jams.
Dude, and they did a fucking, like, one of the worst parts about being yourself in like a career band and touring all the time is you don't get to see shows as much. And that's one thing that really sucked. Like, I think around like, a couple years ago, they did like a 10-year anniversary of that record, and they played it in full. And I was like, that would be fucking incredible to see, but we like weren't around. We couldn't go, and I was fucking devastated.
Yeah, that's when they did it. It was 2019. That's when I saw them, because that was the 10 years of that. But yeah, they're fucking awesome. Now, do you have a band in your life that you like constantly turn to, like a band that just never lets you down with their music, and you can always turn to them to listen to them, and no matter what mood you're in?
Yeah. I actually looked up. You told me they were on tour, so I like looked up some dates. I need to write this down. This show that they're playing in San Francisco. Are tickets on sale? Shit. All right. Sorry. What was the question? Is there a band I love that all the time?
Yeah. Is there a band in your life that never lets you down? Rolling Stone categorizes it favorite band, but I don't like to call that. I just have bands in my life that never let me down. I can always turn to their music and their catalog and love them.
Yeah. I mean, Blink's up there for sure. Probably the top one, just because that's the shit I like. That's like the first fucking band I loved, and like, I've listened to every fucking album 100 million times. Even I don't like the last album they did with Skiba. The California record with Skiba is dope as hell. The one after 9 was but all the offshoot bands plus 44. That record is a record I'll never ever get sick of. Deftones. That like before my pop punk phase got real serious. I was a hard rock little kid because in Mass, if you weren't tough, then you weren't shit. So in New Hampshire, that's when you got emotional. But in Massachusetts, the little like, dude, it's funny. Like all the like people shit on like the Ben Affleck movies and shit, but that is fucking real. These motherfuckers in Massachusetts will motherfucking kill you if you show any emotion. You are straight up like stepped on immediately. But so I was a little hard rock kid. So Deftones, like at the time when I got into them, White Pony just dropped. White Pony was huge in my life. So Deftones is definitely one.
They're fucking awesome. I saw them in May.
Descendants is huge for me too. I can't think of like a ton. It's just like that. Alkaline Trio for sure. Speaking of Skiba,
and Dan's fucking awesome. I mean, it's just a great band all around.
I smoked a blunt with Dan once. That was pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome.
That was a bucket list thing for sure. In Florida too. I didn't know he lived there, but yeah.
Now, is there anything that you listen to that people would be really surprised that like a punk kid fucking gets a shitload of enjoyment out of? Like, are you a Swiftie or Bieber guy, or like, is there something crazy that people would be really surprised you get a lot of enjoyment out of listening to?
That's a good question. I don't mind Bieber, dude. He's got a couple fucking hits out there. My ex-girlfriend that I was so recently seeing is a huge Bieber fan, and he's got a couple these new tracks. The song Ghost is cool, and Where Are You Now is like a cool Bieber song. But things that would surprise people, I listen to a lot of it's funny, like the songs I write are so different than what I typically would listen to. Like I was saying earlier, like I listen to a lot of classic rock. I love Bob Seger, I love CCR, I love Eagles. I listen to a lot of like 80s like glam metal, hard rock. Motley is huge for me. GNR is huge. I definitely love rap music and hip hop and like there's some old school shit I love. Biggie was huge. That was one of my first CDs was Puff Daddy and the Family. So that's just cool. But somebody would be surprised by. That's a great question.
I mean, I think you just laid it down on the thickness, but give me what just popped in your head.
All right, there's some guilty pleasure shit for me out there. Mid 2000s, like metalcore, like I guess it's called metalcore. I don't know. Like Epitaph signed. I wasn't like huge on Epitaph my whole life. I didn't really pay attention to record labels very much, but
they were hit or miss.
Yeah, I remember in like the mid 2000s, they were signing up all these like, singy but screamy breakdown bands, and I caught wind of a couple. And there's one called Our Last Night that's actually from New Hampshire, and that's one of the reasons why I checked them out. I was like, this band got signed, and they're fucking from where I'm at. Like, how the fuck did that happen? And then I ended up listening to the record, and I was like, this shit is sick. And like Under Oath and Seosin and stuff like that. Yeah. That shit's, I fuck with that shit pretty heavy. Like, that's stuff I don't tell people about. But it's not because I'm embarrassed. It's just because like I can't listen to that music with people. So if someone's like, what should we listen to? I'm not like, let's listen to Under Oath. Like that's not something you do. So I guess that would be surprising because I don't talk about it much because it's just something I listen to on my own. It's something I just put some headphones in and rock out to.
All right, so the world's going to end in 5 minutes. A meteor's going to crash into the earth, and all life will cease to exist. And you have to listen to one song before the world ends. What song do you listen to?
That's brutal. That's a brutal question. At this very moment?
Yeah.
this song I would listen to forever would be "Right Down the Line" by Jerry Rafferty.
All right.
Do you know that hit?
No, I'm writing
You
it
don't know
down
that
now.
hit, dude?
No.
Right down the line. And once you hear it, you'll know it. It's a beautiful song.
I'm writing it down because I'm going to listen to it.
It's got a great bass line right when the song starts.
All right.
It's so sick, dude. Once you hear it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, man. Well, we're into the hour mark of the show, so I don't want to keep you forever here. We are on opposite sides of the country right now, so I'd love to give you this opportunity to say whatever you'd like to your fans out there, and probably hopefully some new fans that are listening to the show, and how to find everything that you're doing, and how to buy the album and get in on all that good stuff.
Well, I guess the easiest way, find us on Instagram. We're at M.U.T.T_, which is the name of the band. M.U.T., acronym, stands for Mutts Up to Trouble. And we got a link tree up on there, and you can find everything on there. You can get the record. You can find us on all the streaming platforms. That's probably the easiest way to check it out. But yeah, please do if you like kind of lighthearted, like punk rock songs about love and drugs, then we're the band for you.
No better way to say it.
Party on, man.
Yeah. So we're here at our last segment of the show. It is our weekly threes. So, keep your phone out. It's 3 things that you're listening to right now that you'd like people to check out.
Check out Webbed Wing. They got a new song that they just put out, but they also have a record that came out not that long ago called What's So Fucking Funny. That band is killer. A couple dudes from Super Heaven are in it. I just saw them with Angel Dust on a tour, and I was like, well, who the fuck is this band? So I checked them out. They're dope as hell. Military Gun. My good friend Ian sings in that band. They just put out a deluxe version of their first 2 7-inches, so now it's a combined 3 7-inch length album. But the cool thing about these new songs is he collaborated on them with people from different type of musical backgrounds. So there's 4 songs. Each song sounds completely different than the last, but they're all really fucking cool and good. And that record is called All Roads Lead to the Gun. Shit. Let's see. Check out my homies in this band Bite the Hand. I've been rocking this EP. They got an EP called Down Comes the Bay. It's some metal, hardcore crossover type shit that everyone's fucking with these days. It's got some turnstile type riffs, really groovy. Singer growls, he's aggressive. It's dope. Really cool fucking halftime parts. It's dope. It's good shit. Check it out.
Awesome. Good 3. All right. My 3 for this week. As I find myself, what I do is just recently watched the This Is Gwar documentary. Was lucky enough to see them back in the day. So I found myself listening to a lot of Gwar this week. So if anybody doesn't know them, it'd be pretty weird, but yeah. But
I would say so, yeah.
Great documentary as well. I love all these music documentaries that are coming out about, bands, and just giving us an in-depth look into what everything was like behind the scenes. Next is another old band from the 90s, band called Hagfish. Power pop punk. Basically, if you liked Big Drill Car or Descendants or anything along those lines, the Cruise Records days. It's just great melodic punk music. And last but not least, a band out of England called Fresh. Kind of dream pop. I guess I would call it indie dream pop, but great female vocalist, and just been digging on that a lot lately. So those are my 3 for this week.
Sounds cool.
But John, thanks so much for being here, man. Really excited for everything you're doing. Love the album. Appreciate you spending some time with us this week. So, thanks so much for what you do and keep on fucking rocking.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. And everybody out there in the world, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to M.U.T.T, and have a great fucking time.
Ow!
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band. And don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.